Okay, so today's survey question is that which doesn't kill you, A, makes you stronger, B, maims you horribly and leaves you crippled for life, or C, other, fill in the blank. However, please check all that apply because it may not be simply one answer. So, today, in my partially riled up state, I wanted to respond to this saying that happens. Is something received by people living with chronic illness who are, in some cases, being offered the best form of encouragement the speaker um, has to offer at the moment. And in other cases, maybe a form of judgment, criticism, blaming the victim often. And it can come from a place of simple ignorance. The person speaking just doesn't know uh, about the details and the context of the life the person they're speaking to is living. And in my own experience, especially having had an amount of life pre-disability, you know, I learned certain things in my society, certain ways of thinking, certain phrases that are used, ways that have been modeled to me, observed through direct behavior, through reading and literature, and also through viewing, such as in movies. Um, Behavior that's modeled of how to respond in this kind of situation. So, the answer for a lot of people that I've encountered who live with the getting maimed horribly and being left crippled for life is when confronted with this sometimes experienced as a glib phrase coming off the tongue of someone who doesn't get it, or is implying or seems to be implying that, gee, you're not a happy, well-adjusted disabled person, so you must be doing it wrong. Um, Here's one of the frameworks that helps me understand the deeper levels of meaning that can come within the phrase of that which doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Well, does it really? Is it the thing that makes me stronger? Does it make it stronger? That's actually a focus on that focus is on the stimulus or the event. And so when the focus there is on the stimulus, at least in English, American English, and the way this phrase seems to commonly be used at this time, is that there's an implication that it makes you stronger. So if you haven't gotten stronger because of something that didn't kill you, then there's a problem. And clearly it can't be it because it makes people stronger. Well, not in all cases and not for everybody and not all the time. It depends on, this is a model, I think I got this from Rick Hansen. Depends on three major factors. The challenges that are happening, that's the it. If the challenge, the single challenge or multiple challenges, the types, intensity, and quantities of challenge, because they don't always come one at a time, the vulnerabilities, both pre-existing and newly created. You can tell I'm not used to pointing in reverse like a stage director would be. And resources that help to protect vulnerabilities and address the challenges. Resources, in order to be applicable, they have to be both available resources, either currently or mobilizable, and they have to be utilizable. In other words, just because a resource is available doesn't mean it's possible to use it. It's kind of like the distinction that I've heard between, that phrase of you are what you eat. Some people will say you are what you digest, and then others say you are what you assimilate. So this is the available is what you're eating or have available to eat, and utilizable means it's digested and assimilated. So those are some of the corollaries for those. So, okay, deep breath time. Oh my. Like a lot of shorthand phrases, this one, I think, is a general phrase that's an encapsulation of a truth or a part of a truth or one particular understanding of a truth. Because these shorthand sayings are necessarily simplified, they can be very simplified or even extremely simplified. One phrase can stand to mean a paragraph, a chapter, a book, or a whole library full of books. So it's impossible to convey in just a couple of handfuls of words depth of understanding, multiple viewpoints, or nuanced understandings. So part of what's helped me is in dealing with this concept is shifting the focus from the stimulus, that which doesn't kill me makes me stronger. It didn't kill me, so it makes me stronger, is to change the emphasis to the you part about the responding and what is possible in that area. So, one of the ways I think of this is about the inner resources, about how challenges in life, whether it's primarily internal, whether it's physical, whether it's relational or to other people or in the world, or some combination of those, is that as a challenge occurs, what is the definition of a challenge? If I have enough resources to meet it already, is it a challenge? Or is it just an ordinary event that I take care of? Like, I experience hunger and I eat. Well, what happens if hunger occurs and there's no food available? That would be more of a challenging situation. Where a need arises, it's resources, there's under-resourcing to meet that need, and the gap creates a challenge. So a challenge then, by definition, would be something, an event or situation that occurs that exceeds current resources and ability to meet it. So then there's going to be a period of coming to terms with that challenge and how to respond to it. So this whole process of undergoing a challenging situation. For me, this phrase speaks on the inner level more to the process of growth and transformation. If it happens, if something that doesn't kill one on a physical level, ways that a person could become stronger is, I'm having trouble finding a good corollary for that. I was thinking about scar tissue, but scar tissue no longer is alive in the sense of having abundant nerves alive, blood flow. Although if there is a good healing process, then healthy scar tissue can develop that becomes stronger in one sense. Okay, I think I'm getting off track there. Didn't think through my analogies. Anyway, I guess the thing that I wanted to address most is the part of well, what do you do in this situation when you haven't been killed, but you've been maimed horribly and you've been left crippled for life? And crippled isn't necessarily just mean in a physical sense, and it doesn't mean necessarily in a mobility sense. One's hormonal system could be crippled, or one's immune system could be crippled in a general sense of that term. So there are a lot of different directions that people's experiences take them in those situations, and the need for understanding, to have one's experience be seen and validated, are very important. And in my experience, particularly with the conditions that are still considered emerging or controversial, or just simply not socially known, understood, or accepted, the place that understanding most often comes is from within the disability community itself, particularly within the subset of the disability community that of folks who are going through same or similar conditions and circumstances. There are other areas that I have found that can be helpful, like nonviolent communication practice groups, for example. There's one I attend that by phone that is specifically for people with chronic illness and disability. One of the advantages of having focused interest groups of that sort is that there is a shared understanding, so that it's possible to speak a few sentences and there's already a context for understanding, so that as a person speaking, I don't have to then backfill and do a bunch of educating and explaining, or trying to convey the qualities of the experience or the nuances of it. Okay, so I don't have to be like trying to hand someone a book when I'm just hoping to be heard and understood. And that's actually a big lack in at least my society, the United States, Americans in general, is that there's a very large shortage of listening, hearing, and understanding for a lot of people, many, many, many people. And part of that includes that there's not a huge amount of resources of people who have developed their communication skills, particularly active listening. I love the empathy guessing. Empathy guessing in nonviolent communication. That means I don't have to get it right. I don't have to figure out what the person is experiencing. I can guess. And then they get to say, oh, yes, that's right. Or no, that's completely off base. Or I meant something different. Or, well, yeah, that's kind of right. And it's more like this other thing. And it's wonderful to be let off the hook in that way. Anyway, I don't know what else I might have to share on this topic. I wrote a few notes. I made a few slides. And I'm wondering how you would answer that survey question. If it doesn't kill you, what happens? That which doesn't kill you, what is the result? So please feel free to write any other responses in particular in the comments below, and look forward to connecting with you again another time. May you be well. Namaste.